Mercedes knew the limits of its current W14 F1 car concept before even a wheel had turned in Bahrain, before even pre-season testing had taken place, and that it needed to change approach with its car concept. And not only that, but it's been confirmed by the team since these opening couple of rounds that it's going to take the team 6 to 12 months to catch up with Red Bull's depth of understanding of the fine aerodynamic detail needed to maximize the performance of the current generation of F1 cars. So with that, it comes as no surprise to hear the likes of Hamilton coming out after the very first race, saying the team never listened to him on his feedback regarding the W14 and where it needed to go.
It's about owning up and saying, yeah, you know what, we didn't listen to you, it's not where it needs to be, and we've got to work.
And not only that, even straight after qualifying from the season opening, Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff already was stating that the team had already thrown in the towel on its current car concept and would start work on a completely new direction. And with that, we have now learned that this particular new concept had been already in the wind tunnel for quite some time. This has all come to light after trackside engineering director Andrew Chauvelin has revealed that Mercedes had reached a conclusion about the limits of its current W14 concept in the wind tunnel when it realised improvements were not coming as easily as it hoped. And we will be getting into these comments in a little while. But before we do that, it's time for a competition to be run on the channel. 3 lucky subscribers to the channel will be chosen by myself at the end of the competition, from which they will be sent a t-shirt from their favourite Formula 1 team from the official F1 store. So all you have to do is, on this very video, in the description and in the comments pinned down below, there's going to be a link. After clicking the link, it's going to take you to the competition homepage, from which all you have to do is follow the instructions on there and you will be entered. Please note, the email that you provide will be the way through which I will contact the 3 winners. Good luck to you all. Regarding finding the limit of the current W14 concept, Chauvelin explained that you can look at your development rates in the wind tunnel. And before we even got to Bahrain, there were conversations about looking at bigger departures. That's not looking at it in isolation for this year's car development. It's something that we've done over the course of the last 10 years. If you're not finding the gains you need, you make a bigger change. You explore another area and often you want to unlock that. That had already happened before Bahrain, but perhaps the urgency to try and bring those bits to the track has gone up following the early races. Now, unfortunately, making such drastic changes to an overall car concept is going to have natural consequences, and along with changing of the zero pod concept, there's going to have to be many other areas that the team have to overhaul. And this is where the issue comes in, because as stated by Toto Wolff, it's going to take them between 6 and 12 months to catch up with the level of depth and understanding Red Bull have with their concept and the fine aerodynamic detail needed to maximize the performance of the current generation of Formula 1 cars. And this lies where the biggest problem is. While yes, they are finding huge chunks of downforce and lap time with this new concept, it's not just a simple matter of doing this and bolting this onto the car. It's a much more intricate process that the team are going to have to undertake with this concept, particularly when it comes to the driver side of things, because as we've already heard, both Lewis and George have a particular issue with the current W14 and its instability in the corners, particularly at high speed. And just from the simple fact that you change your concept and find lap time and many points of downforce, it doesn't mean you cure this weakness in the car. There are other areas of the car from which they will have to take a focus on, and this can be from the likes of mechanical as well as a combination of aerodynamics and how the mechanical side of things interplay with one another in the car. And so this is the point Toto is making when he says it's going to take 6 to 12 months to catch up with their understanding and knowledge of this concept. Because as you always know, you go through a season and sometimes teams don't bring updates towards the end of the year, but they progressively get quicker, and that's through the sheer continuation of gathering data and trialing different setups and ideas within that kind of parameter and the setup window each car has. And sometimes you stumble upon a somewhat magic setup window, or just a setup in general that works a lot more favorably for like race conditions or whatever it is like a certain driver may have been struggling with, and you start to learn and understand it, and then naturally more lap time comes as a result of that. And if we look at the case when it comes to, say, Haas, sometimes they bolt on these huge updates that they see in the wind tunnels going to bring them maybe half a second. But really out on track in the broad daylight of real, lap time and just racing in general, it never has happened that way for them. And that's because, of course, they haven't got the understanding in place to be able to extract what the wind tunnel and CFD is showing them with these updates that they bring. And that's where the issue stems from. But Mercedes do anticipate a silver lining to be have and found. And that is, of course, with Red Bull having apparently built a significant knowledge in how to make the most of the current generation of ground effect cars, there's obviously going to be a diminishing lack of return as you get closer to the top of the development threshold for a concept. And this is something Mercedes have the benefit of not being anywhere near. And so within a prolonged period of time, they're naturally going to get closer and closer to the likes of Red Bull and Aston Martin and whoever else may be at the top of the Formula One grid at any given point in time. Right guys, that's the end of the video. I hope you've all enjoyed it. If you have, leave a like on the video, share it, subscribe if you're new around here, and I will catch you all in another Formula One video over this Australian Grand Prix weekend.